I can really, even sitting down right now, I can feel my uterus making moves. Welcome back to Podmas. Happy day 16 of Podmas. It's December 16th. This month is flying by. And today we are having a little convo with the girlies and the menstruators and the people who got a cycle. Because I am currently on day 1 of mine, and it completely changes how you function through your day, how you interact with people, how much energy you have. I feel half asleep. I actually got the most delicious deep sleep last night after my luteal phase, which is the phase right before your period. I am just so grateful when my period comes because I'm just so relieved to not be so moody anymore, to finally get really good sleeps again. That's something that I feel like I'm finally acknowledging is I think my sleeps are just not that great during my luteal phase, and my sleeps on my period are so deep and delicious. And our cycles really, really, really play a big part in how we're able to perform at work, at home, in our social events, and our holiday events. And so I thought this was a great time to talk about how I take care of myself, how I sort of operate depending on what part of my cycle I'm in, how I track it, how I know what the differences are. And so we'll start off with being on your period because I'm on mine, and the way I feel is pretty tired, pretty exhausted, and then I try to match my schedule to that. And then if I can't match my schedule to that and I do have a big social outing, I try to take care of myself a bit more than usual. And tomorrow, day 17, I was about to say day 15, day 17 of Podmas is going to be all about trying to decide if you should go to events or if you should stay home, because that's a whole thing. So tune into tomorrow. It'll be applicable to everyone. It won't be about specifically what part of your cycle you're in, but I'll get into all of that decision-making troubles more specifically. But for me right now, when I'm on my period and I have a big social event, I try to take extra good care of myself. Specifically, who those social events are with, because when I'm ovulating, when I'm in my spring phase, when I'm in my summer phase, my spring phase is my follicular phase, I can handle so much. I can deal with so much bullshit. I can freaking have the time of my life having a conversation with someone who has completely different political views than me, and we're just gonna like fucking live it up, and we're just gonna challenge each other and have an open mind. But right now, no. Right now, absolutely not. When I'm in my luteal phase and I am annoyed as fuck, or if I'm in my period phase where I'm just tired and not here for a political debate, I steer the fuck away. So there's certain family gatherings, specifically, I want to say during the holidays, where we have to interact with people who we might not choose to be our friend, but they are our blood relative. So let's get a little strategic about how we are going to get through those interactions, those conversations. Maybe you just politely steer clear of certain people during this time in your cycle, because when you're in your ovulation phase, oh my gosh, I don't know about you, but for me, I can just do everything under the sun. And this is what tracking my cycle has really helped me do, is understand where my strengths are depending on where I'm at. So for my ovulation part of my cycle, anything I'm obligated to do, throw me into it. Aunt Susie needs help moving, no problem. Grandma needs help cooking some dinner, no worries, I got you. My brother needs a drive somewhere, I'm in. Let's drive around. But this time I'm like, no, love you, but no. Like, I will be resting in my downtime. And there is so much power in knowing that and advocating for that. So let's get into how I track my cycle. I keep it real simple. I use the app My Flow, and so this beautifully tells me where I'm at in my cycle based on colors and what to expect in that part. Every time you go into a new phase of your cycle, it will say like, welcome to your menstrual phase. Here's what to expect, here's what to reflect on, and here's how to get in sync. And so they'll tell you different foods that are good for you for that time in your cycle, different exercise styles that are good for that time of your cycle. And specifically, like when I'm on my period, I don't run. point blank period. I will not run. Luckily, my period isn't very long. I'm very grateful for that. So it's not like 7 full days of like not running. I mean, near the end of my period, like if I'm spotting or whatever, or if it's day 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever, I'll go for like a light jog. But I cut back on those high intensity workouts and seriously do some like yin yoga, some deep stretching. I'm getting a massage today. Bless my mom. She has some extra credits at a massage place that we've frequented, and I don't have insurance anymore. And she was like, girlie, I love you. You hurt some weird part in your back. Go get a massage. And it happened to be day 1 of my period. Hallelujah. I'm so grateful. Back to the app though. The app I use will just tell me where I'm at and tell me what to expect, which I love. And then you just have to put in when you actually like bleed and the intensity of it. But I don't love the fact that, and I put this in as a suggestion, that you can't just write your own notes just like in a custom little message box kind of thing. So I requested that, but now I just use my notes app on my phone, and it's a really easy way to track my symptoms, my feelings, my moods. And so I am noticing some fucking patterns that are really fucking annoying that always happen leading up to my period. Sometime between day 18 and day 25, it changes. Sometimes it's day 18 and day 20 that I feel this way, or sometimes it's like 21, 22, 23. But I will literally put down one of these descriptions: hungry, like really, really, really hungry, overly hungry, like abnormally hungry, tired, like overly tired, agitated, annoyed. I get really like frustrated when I notice it's like I write things down in my notes when I notice it's an extra amount, when it's more than usual. Like sometimes I get annoyed with my life. Sometimes I get annoyed with living with my parents. Sometimes I get annoyed with my boyfriend. But if you're sitting back and you're like, I feel so agitated and so annoyed and I can't pinpoint why, and there's all this like anger inside of me, write that shit down and pay attention to what day of your cycle it is. On any period app that you use, it will tell you somewhere on the screen what day you're in, because day 1 of your cycle starts on the first day that you lose a lot of blood, that you start your period and you're bleeding lots. Me today, even though I'm wearing all white. That's actually hilarious. I'm literally wearing kind of like a gray outfit. I'm wearing like whitish gray sweatpants and a white top. That's a little silly of me, but let's hope for the best. And so your app will tell you what day you're in, and then I will just take that day and put it in my phone, and I'll put day 22, really irritated. And so then now I can scroll back and see past cycles, and that's how I've been able to notice that somewhere between day 18 and day 25, I am so angry. And so I am not gonna go interact with my racist uncle if I know I am somewhere in between day 18 and day 25, because I'll lose my fucking shit more than I would if I'm like freshly off my period and I'm like, life is good, spring is sprouting, I am feeling great. And so this awareness changes everything in subtle ways if you allow yourself to pay attention to it. Because I would get stressed before and be like, I need to plan my entire life, and if something's not in tune with where I'm at in my cycle, everything's going to be out of order. And it's like, no, we can't do that. We can't overly plan things. I more just like have an idea of what's going on in my life and then refer to my cycle and then plan accordingly of like, okay, what do we need to know going into this situation? And I'm so grateful for that. Because when you do that and think, okay, what do I need to know? It validates your experience and it makes me feel like I'm not just crazy. There's so much messaging in society about crazy women, being a mad woman, being a freaking dramatic bitch. Oh my God, where's she at in her cycle? Okay, can we just like take it easy? Our hormones affect everything. Sometimes I read self-help books written by men and I'm like, must be nice to have the same ish level of hormones every single day. Fuck you. Okay, that clearly you can tell what part of my cycle I'm in if I'm getting that aggressive. If I'm ovulating, I don't think I'll be saying fuck you, but like seriously, fuck you, because I can't push and grind and hustle and just do all the things every single day of the month. And honestly, that's fucking great. That's fine. Who the fuck wants to live their life in that way? Seasons are beautiful. I've mentioned this before. I have a friend who lived in Arizona for a period of time, and she was like, it sucked because it was just hot, hotter, and a little less hot all year round. They had no sense of what time of year it was. Is it Christmas? Does it feel like the holiday season? She's like, I don't know. It's just fucking hot as balls. So the seasons are great. And our body, as people with periods and women, have this specific rhythm and seasonal changes in our cycle every 28 days or however long your period length is, and your cycle length, not your period length. Anyway, getting technical around here. Clearly I've done my research. And so I would rather live like this, to be honest. I have moments where I'm like, oh, it would be nice to be a man and be able to just like, have a bit more consistent mood, energy levels every single day. But at the end of the day, like, my body is beautiful. What it's doing every day and what it's doing every month is miraculous. What a word, miraculous. And so I wouldn't change that. And that's where becoming aware of it just becomes this like secret tool in your toolbox that makes me feel like I have this upper edge on myself. Honestly, it's like I am taking care of my future self, and I still really, 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 really struggle in my luteal phase. And I eventually do want to work with like a naturopath or some holistic nutritionist to try and balance whatever the fuck is going on with my hormones in those specific days, because I know it's like I don't have to feel that way. People just like portray PMS, premenstrual syndrome, as just something you're supposed to have. And, oh, it's the PMS in you, it's coming out. It's like, no, that means something's off. That means something's a little imbalanced. I think like my hormones are dropping a bit too much after my ovulation. So, like, I don't need to be going through these extremes. I am not quite ready to tackle that yet. I'm tackling many things at the moment, clearly, Podmas. And so that's why it's okay to like know you need to like, or not need to, but I would like to eventually research and get into like why this is happening and how I can support myself better through it. And it's okay. Oh, whoa, that was such a long sentence. It's okay to know I want to do that and not be ready yet. That's why every single time I talk about like healing and like different aspects of a healing journey on this podcast, I try to say like trust yourself and trust where you're at in your own life, because certain things might be going on that make it not possible for you to change all of your eating habits right now, and you can't do that all at once either. So just bear with yourself in the process. And a great place to start is literally just when you notice something a little out of the ordinary or something you seemingly can't explain with like other explanations, just write it down in your phone based on what day you're in your day you're at on in your cycle, and eventually you might see some correlations, and that'd be great. And what I mean by you can't explain it by things going on, like you can't explain why you're feeling so angry. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm so angry because my friend just did something stupid and it pissed me off. Or sometimes I'm like, oh, I can explain why I'm feeling overly tired. I was really, really social the last 3 days. Okay, that makes sense. But when you have moments where you're like, literally this happened last week, crying all day and you cannot stop, and your boyfriend calls you to try and ask you how your day is, and you literally are monotone and cannot act like you can function like a normal healthy human, something's off and I can't explain it. I actually was like going through so many options. I'm like, is it my job? Is it the fact that it's not really busy right now? Is it that time of month? What time of month am I at? Is it my living with my parents? Is it have I been active today? Is it my sleep cycle? Is it what I ate today? And then also it was a time in the month where I knew I had a friend who passed away 2 years ago, and it was coming up on his 2-year death anniversary. And so I was like sitting in my car trying to like, I was about to go on a walk to try and like fix my shit. And I was like, oh my God, is it the day he died? And so I went through my camera roll and I was like, it's not the day he died, but it's like 4 days away from the day he died. So I also was like, that's probably contributing to this, because I believe that our bodies remember trauma and they store trauma in them. And sometimes like our bodies are so smart. They will know like when an event is coming up when we don't even consciously remember. Do you know what I mean? So like a part of me was like, am I crying all day because like all of these feelings and memories that are stored in my body are coming back up because it's been 2 years. And honestly, the answer to most of those questions is like, yes, it was a variety of factors. It was that trauma. It was that loss. It was that grief that it's that time of year for. Not it's that time of year for, but like it's the time of year where it's definitely amplified for me and a lot of memories come up and a lot of hard feelings come up. But then on top of that, my job was really weird at this period of time and I was feeling really odd about it. And on top of that, I was feeling really lonely and I felt like I was really not hanging out with people enough. That was something I needed to fill my cup. So let's move on. Self-reflect. Look at yourself from a critical lens sometimes if you can like remove yourself from the situation and be like, what is objectively going on that could be contributing to how I'm feeling? Because I think so often, wow, we're going on a rant today. So often people are like, I'm crazy, or like, I am struggling with a mental illness when it is actually in reality always related to the time of month you're in. And so you could be good for 2 weeks, but then suddenly you fall into this deep dark hole of I can't get out of bed. And it's like, well, maybe your hormones are completely dysregulated and the time after you ovulate to all the way till when your period is over, yeah, is a really fucking terrible time. And that's half your life pretty much, because it's like half the month every single month. So, if you take anything away from this episode, it is to please track your cycle. It is not that hard. It is something that takes practice and you will get better at. Some weeks I don't write anything down, and then other times I will write things down often. Overall, it's just a way for us to keep our thoughts, feelings, moods down so that we can actually go back and look at it later and see it objectively. Because every time I'm in that part of my phase from day 18 to 25 where I'm like so pissed off at the world, I hate that the explanation is my cycle. I hate it. I hate it so much because I'm like, that means I can't do anything about it, which is wrong. I can do things about it. I can learn. I can balance my hormones. But the only reason I know that this is why is because I have evidence from previous cycles that say this exact day that you're on right now, you felt this exact same way before, and there's no explanation other than this. So good luck. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. If you're on your period, know what you need, trust what you need, advocate for what you need. And if you don't know how, tune into tomorrow's episode because I'm going to get all into it. So day 17 tomorrow, don't miss it. It's going to be a vibe. We're going to talk about when to go to an event, when to stay home and not feel bad about it. I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening. You got this. Knowing ourselves and loving ourselves and figuring our shit out, it takes time. It is an ever evolving, always progressing process. So have some grace, and I'll chat with you soon. Also, if you want to submit a question or a TMI story, please do. Let's talk about our periods. I bled in my underwear the other day. It was terrible, but it got out. Yay, wash that blood out.